And good day. I'm here with Lou, November 2 Tango uniform, and I invited Lou to a meeting this day. This is actually February 1st, and we're expecting 3Y0 Juliet to be on the air shortly. We heard yesterday that they actually got, at least one person got on the island to do a bit of a survey. I don't know if they moved any equipment, but in the report I saw, he actually had to swim the last 10 meters. I don't know if you had read that on DX World, Lou, but that's pretty scary stuff in the middle of nowhere. That trying to land a Zodiac in any sort of surf, especially full of equipment, is an incredibly challenging endeavor. But I invited Lou to a meeting or a call with us today because I want to discuss a few things. And Lou, you've been on your share of DXPeditions in your amateur lifetime. Any favorites? I guess they're all favorites in their own way.
The ones that I put together, I kind of think are my favorites, but the most exciting was Navassa, Kilo 1 November, because it was #2 on the most wanted. And it was just a ball. We had a lot of really, really top operators on the island with us. But Wake Island that I put together and Palmyra that Craig and I put together, Craig K9CT put together, that was the most rewarding, but the most exciting was Navassa, definitely.
Excellent. And you're now part of another one coming up on Sable Island in, 8 weeks or so?
Yeah, March the 20th. March the 20th, depending upon whether we can land on the island with the plane, or it could be delayed either on or off the island. We don't know yet, but tentatively it's March the 20th.
Good. What's the call sign? Call sign for that one?
Charlie Yankee 0 CR.
Charlie Yankee 0, and that's a Canadian.
We have one Canadian with us. Yes.
Excellent. Well, good luck with that, because
we elected to take a Canadian with us. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, it's not exactly vacation weather when you're there, is it?
No. It's supposed to be really chilly and very windy. It's always windy on Sable because there's nothing to block the wind.
It's just a sandbar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a They call it the graveyard of the Atlantic. So
okay,
a lot of shipwrecks.
Okay, so let's move forward. We're going to go through some things that, as somebody trying to contact Bouvet, that you may want to be aware of. And I'm going to ask Lou, because I brought him in because I want to say, what's it like on the other end? And you need to know what it's like on the other end so that you can improve your chances of attempting to work them. As I do this today, the solar flux is 137, although we saw over 200 last week. It'll come back. And so one of the more important things is, Lou, what? Propagation, right?
Propagation. Oh, yeah. Okay. We're at the just about the top end of this solar cycle. So propagation to our friends down in Bouvet should be absolutely phenomenal. I'll bring up a VOA CAP in a couple of minutes here, but we should have terrific propagation worldwide to Bouvet.
But not only that, you need to know by the hour when, from my location, which is the VOA CAP, right?
Yeah, not only the hour, but also the band, what frequencies are going to be open. For instance, the 160 during the day is just not going to cut it going down to Bouvet. So the VOA CAP, which we'll show in a second, unless you want to do that now, Mike.
Do you want to bring it up now? Or?
Sure, we can do it now. Let me see if I can move this screen over.
There, I see it.
Do you see it? Okay. VOA CAP, excellent program. And if you notice, it says up in the upper left, VOA CAP online for ham radio. And what you do is you set the transmit QTH. And in this case, I believe I set Bouvet is going to be the transmit grid, JD15QN for everybody chasing grids. And I set my own grid of Echo Mike 95NN. And if you look at the VOA CAP screen here, and I'll use my mouse to go around it, if you notice when I get to 80 meters, there's virtually no propagation down there for whatever time of the day. These are your local time in GMT. It'll be whatever your propagation forecast is going to be. Here, 12 UT on 80 meters is just about a 0% chance that I would have of working Bouvet. If you want to go to the more extreme, here is 20 meters at 0300. I've got a 96% chance of working Bouvet. So the propagation, you just go around the wheel. You can tell by the bands, which are this vertical here, and the red is your best propagation forecast. And you got a couple of them that are at 100%, which is dynamite. 15 UTC or 94% for 10 meters. 10 meters should be a pretty good band for Bouvet north-south. And you can go over to the right-hand side, and you can set the mode that you're operating in. You can set FT8, you can set FT4, sideband, CW, AM, which I don't think they're going to be operating. What your power is going to be, you can set it to whatever wattage you think it's going to be.
If you pick the 20,000 watt one, I want to talk to you.
Those are only the Europeans. What antennas are going to be on the transmit side and on the receive side? What they're using and what you're going to be using. Some settings for different propagation settings. Solar SSN. You can put dynamic SSN in there, and it'll automatically populate it for you. Then you got the propagation charts, which are very difficult to read. So that's why I usually use a propagation wheel. It's a heck of a lot easier to see. So VOA CAP is going to be your best friend for Bouvet. Have it up on your screen. Be prepared to play with it and see what your best chances of getting those guys down there. And be patient, by the way. They're going to be there for at least 2 weeks. You're going to have every opportunity to work them. So don't get excited if you don't work them on the first day. A lot of us don't.
Right. Or the last day.
Yeah, or the last day. Last day you start to worry a little bit.
Yeah.
But
so does everybody.
For the first couple of days, let the big guns work them. If you're not a big gun, stand back, let them do their thing, and watch the DX and watch what their operating patterns are. Whether the CW guy is going up, down, where, if he's picking multiple people on the same frequency, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good opportunity to see what their operating style is while you can't get through to them. So VOA CAP is your friend.
Yeah, and today I would say use VOA CAP to understand what it's doing, so you know what you expect the band to do. We know that around noon local time and your time, if you were to select, I don't know, Middle European for 20 meters, you're going to see it's very favorable. If you were maybe on 10 meters and you selected South America for after lunch and sort of the Eastern time, you'll see, red's better on this chart, right? And
yep.
And, look at what you probably know already so you get an understanding of what to expect it's going to say. In the lower bands as well, the Terminator is going to be your friend. That is the
gray line.
The gray line, yeah. Amazingly powerful, the Terminator. If you roll it forward, so if you put them right about there, and it's actually going to be in our favor for us in Eastern North America, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yep. And if you roll it forward to just hitting the gray line in the northeast and in the on Bouvet, it's just going to be their sunrise and it's going to be our sunset. So you should have fairly good propagation, gray line propagation to them.
Right, and you want to point that out on your wheel as well. Does the wheel dynamically update, or do you have to refresh it?
I think you have to refresh it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like I said, VOA CAP is your friend right now, and patience is also your friend. The other part about it of picking your time. I know a lot of people are going to have Bouvet flu in the next couple of weeks, and they'll be out of work. Pick the time that you want to be out of work and work your way around that. Like, you don't want to be out of looking for a 160-meter contest and call in sick at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's just not going to work.
Unless you're a Flex radio user, you could use SmartLink, keep your beam pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, my 160 beam, right.
160 beam. And and just be prepared. You never know. This is one of those times when having the iPhone handy just might be the difference between making it and not making it.
You bet. You bet. Hey, one thing I'm going to say before we skip off of a VOA CAP and is over on the right-hand side, you have antennas. And under antennas, you got your transmit side and your receive side. While these big guns are banging away and you know, lighting up the ionosphere, this might be a good time to improve your own station. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. We were on Palmyra, and we had access to the internet, and I was doing some spotting of us because the Europeans were having problems getting through to us. And I had a very irate European send me an email saying he can't hear us. And he was getting very upset. A lot of profanity in the email. And I asked him, I said, well, what kind of antenna and setup are you using? And he said, I'm using an end-fed dipole or an end-fed antenna from my shack. I asked him how much wattage you're running. He said about 50 watts. And I says, I think you need a bigger station. We just can't copy 50 watts on an end-fed antenna when we're on extreme other side of the world. So work on your own setup. Work on your antennas. Work on your coax. Work on your just about anything you need to get through. These guys are going to be on Bouvet for 2 weeks, but after that, I don't think we're going to see Bouvet in quite a while. So this is your chance, guys. Don't rely on the DX to pull you through. Improve your own setup. Okay.
Right. And they will also be looking at this, right, to maximize their contact list. So they will pick times when antennas are pointed to Europe or Asia or North America. Mm-hmm. If they're working Asians or Europeans and you're in North America, don't bother. Listen, but at least on the 20 meters and up bands where they're using directive antennas, you're unless you are a RHR Jamestown's, 4/4/4/4/4 on 20, and you can power through the wall, you'll just get frustrated. Fun to listen to, and good time to listen to the patterns because the odds are you're going to be able to hear them. They'll be operating split up to 30 kilohertz wide. I think I saw for sideband, and I think he said 10 or 15 for CW. You can, in a flex radio, this is the power now of your waterfall. You want to be able to watch them and watch the people replying. And we've done videos on CW skimmers before, whether it's CW skimmer or SDC, and there we go, SDC connector, software-defined connector, the ability to decode the 599 messages. And we've done those videos on how you can watch and see where somebody's answering, and this gives you the amazing waterfall. I'm going to blast us, Flex Radio advantage of knowing where to call him, because the odds are if he doesn't have to reach for his VFO, he's not going to, right? You're just going to stay as long as you can copy full call signs on that frequency, right?
Exactly. If you look at, by the way, let's just talk about that quickly for the Flex users we have. Not everybody realizes that you've got a quick split here. All you got to do is go over here, for instance, on my A slice and hit split, and you got your D slice that just came up. And you can move that up and move it any way you want. The other nice thing about that is you can also have CW skimmer hanging off of this slice here. And you have CW skimmer hanging off that slice. You can actually watch the stations that are being worked. So you can follow the station as he's going up, or if he's staying in one spot and working the next one and then the next one and the next one. And then the next one and the next one, you can follow his pattern very easily. And if you want to get out of split again, all you do is hit split and you're back to that frequency. And while I'm at it, as a DXer, DXPeditioner, please know your rig. Know when you're in split and know when you're out of split. There are many people that think they're in split and they're calling on the DX frequency, and that just slows us down. And there's nothing worse than slowing a DXPedition down. Both sides get frustrated, us by having to repeat the call sign that we just gave out and the signal report, and also for the people on the other side, just listening and trying to determine patterns determine who is being called. So learn split, learn what your rig can do, make sure you take the time to get in and out of split.
Can you go back into
very important.
Split, because I want you to talk about what it looks like correctly. See the red TX on the slice, on the D slice?
Right there.
You have to be there. Now, here's what I've heard happen, and I'll fess up. It happened to me not that long ago. I thought I went into split. I didn't pay attention. I was listening to the signal. I called him. I got him on the first call. I thought I wasn't in the log, but I had audio of it. Actually, I had video of it because I was recording it for a video. And you know what happened, Lou? You know what happened is some other guy called me back faking the DX out. I thought I was in the log, but I said, wow, he's really strong. And it was what some people will do to get you just to think, just to get you to shut up, to be blunt. And
just to get rid of you.
Just to get rid of you. So if you make a mistake and you worked them and it seemed too easy, make sure you work them and not a pirate or somebody who is I don't know, being pretty blunt by getting you off the calling frequency. So
there are quite a few of those people around. I think that's all I wanted to cover on split. Just again, acquaint yourself with your rig, acquaint yourself with the indications you have as to whether or not you're in split or out of split, and that has to do with sideband, CW. FT8 is a whole other story. I'm sure these guys down there are going to be working a lot of FT8. Most of that is taken care of by your software program, whether it's WSJT or JTDX.
They will be 100% Fox and Hound.
Yeah, the 100%. There be no of the what is that over the one MSHV.
Yeah, which works 2 or 3, right? So
I think they can get up to 9. Okay.
So they will be Fox and Hound at 100 watts only.
100 watts, yeah. Same as what we're going to be up in Sable. We're talking 100 watts for that.
And I think, by the way, my first chance, I'm going to have a better chance at trying to work them on CW than I will on any of the other 2 modes. I think the pileups on FT8 will be huge. The pileups on sideband will be huge. CW, you have a better chance of spreading out to being heard. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, if your CW sucks, doesn't matter. Go get a reader if you have to. There are many CW readers. It's
the best one out there, by the way, I believe is CW Get. That's probably the best one. Hey, Mike, why don't you just bring up my screen? Morse Runner, and I want you guys to hear what it's like for us when we're on the DXPedition side when we start calling CQ.
All right. So we have Morse Runner here. You can download this from Alex's website. Just Google VE3NEA. It's called Morse Runner. And Lou, what do we got here?
We have it's a simulator that simulates what the DX hears, the DXPedition hears when they call CQ. Mike, just hit a CQ and let's see what happens.
Oh, I have to hit run first.
Yep.
And he turns the radio on. The band's nice and quiet, right? This is what he hears the first time.
Yep. And then all of a sudden, you call CQ.
This is how fast I do CW. Anyway, and as a practice tool, I would be typing calls into the call window there. Where I got the 1 alpha.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be typing whatever call you hear, and then it would validate the call that you hear versus what was actually sent. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite a powerful little program. And if you notice there, it has right about there, it has the number of calling station 9. I wish there was only 9 stations calling when we're on a DXPedition. It's
well, we can do this too now. It's in the 100. This is very realistic. QR Nancy, some QRM, and some Flutter. All right. Well, you won't have the QR Nancy, right? So we'll get rid of the QR Nancy, but which is usually from the generator or something. But If you're a CW operator, this is a great tool to practice with, right? And of course, you said prior to going to Bouvet Island, you will be using this daily?
Yeah, I'll be using it daily. I'll probably put in a half hour every day, starting probably next week, just to get my speed back up again, and also my hearing. What I was going to say is I move to, when I'm on the DXPedition, I will move way up and way down and try not to hit the middle. So when you're calling for Bouvet, don't just sit in the middle and think he's going to come past you. Try and get to the extremes. Most of the times the guys will get a little bit of brain fatigue and start looking at the extremes and see if they can pull out, keep their rates up and pull out on the extremes. So that's a hint. Yeah. And
you'll be able to see that by where they're answering. A little harder on sideband, easier on CW. But on, you want to bring Smart SDR back up, Lou, for a second?
Yep.
Because as a Flex user, you know you can see sideband signals. You need to look for the gaps. Now, sadly, there's no DXPedition running anywhere right now, or we'd have a great example where you could see the person calling, and then you'd see 100 people calling up band. And look for the gaps. If there are less people calling there, you don't know where he's necessarily answering, and you want to call him sort of like we do in the blind, that's a good place to start, because maybe, just maybe, he's hearing the same thing. And it's hard on the head.
Yeah, when we were on when we were on Wake, you could actually see the openings and the slots that were open, and I would just listen into those slots. When it got too crowded, I'd move off to those slots. Our Japanese friends, they love to have CW skimmer running, and as soon as you work one Japanese station, all of a sudden you'll get a pileup of 42 Japanese right on top of them. So
the first call sign you're going to copy isn't always the first one you hear. It's going to be the first complete one you copy in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I'll tune, like you said, the brain is remarkable that way. I will tune out most of the other tones and just try and go for that one tone that I'm listening for and pick that one tone out and copy that call in its entirety. And I will not listen for another one that comes in on top of them. I'll just listen for that one. Okay, this is going to hit some of the high points that we've been talking about in the last couple of minutes. I was asked to do a presentation out in the Pacific Northwest in the DX convention. This was kind of what I put together. There are 10 commandments from the Bible, and then there are 10 commandments from me. You can kind of see my very poor Photoshop vision there. But this is the DX operator's mantra. Capture the calls quickly, accurately, transmit the exchange, and then move on. That's what we try and do. And how do we do that? We expect you guys can help. All right? We use standard phonetics. Eliminate time wasters. Listen, and then listen again. Listen to what the DX operator is saying. And check your rig split before transmitting, then check it again. It's better to be 10 seconds late than in the pileup than to embarrass your call sign. Only repeat your call twice, 3 at the most. Use standard phonetics. No Willie 7 Dog Yellow Honolulu or Kentucky 7 Francis Boston America. None of that.
Did I tell you once at VA3SK we had a problem and it was Jack operating. It was a big pileup, and he goes, Sugar Kilo, Sierra Kilowatt. He's running off everything, right? He couldn't get fine. Went sweaty knuckles.
And he got through.
Don't do that.
I had a guy call me one time and he says, this is the spaghetti man. And I couldn't figure out who it was. And it was one of my Wednesday afternoon luncheon fellows. All right. So you want to make the log. This is you wanting to make the log into the DXer log. Time wasters, they hurt like hell and they translate to less QSOs in the log. Remember, the DXPedition wants to make as many QSOs as possible. They want you in the log. They want you in correctly. No names. Don't tell them, okay, this is a VA3MW. My name is Mike. Let's not get personal. They really don't care. No states or territories. The DXPedition most likely will not be applying for work dole states or any other award.
Or grids.
Yeah, or grids. That's a good point. No 5959. Don't say 5959. It's redundant, unnecessary. Just say your call and 59.
So I don't say 54. It's always
No,
59.
no, it's always 59. Yeah. These are some ready tips. I'll go through them really quickly. If they're going to be operating ready, and I will be operating ready up in Sable, don't make your transmission long. Don't do 599, then another 599, or 599 Lou in North Carolina. No, we don't need that. Just say my call, 599, my call, and that's it. Just keep it short and sweet. This is more reading stuff we don't really need. And what else? Hone your personal skills. There are dozens of contests before and after these DXPeditions. Do some QSO parties. You'll learn how to do exchanges very quickly, very efficiently. Improve your station. Fix the 5-to-1 SWR dipole that you think you're going to work Bouvet on. Raise the ground-mounted Windham. There's a funny story about that. I was used to use a Windham that would have one end of it on the ground, and I did DXCC on 160. But nice. Don't bet on it. Understand your rig and the compression levels. You're going to hear some really weird signals on the band. And,
I have had so many people in your shoes say don't use the compressor because most of them are terrible.
Yeah, I would not. I would say most of them are. The one in the Flex, I think, is dynamite. But
yeah, you don't want to. Some of you Lou, is this?
You don't want to sound like this, correct? 1, 2,
exactly.
But
right.
But this is better because I'm sharper. Is that right? 1, 2, 3,
yeah,
3, 2,
exactly. 1. You'll get through a lot better on the second one than the first one.
So I'm better here, and don't sound like this. 1, 2, 3. So.
You do if you want to do 11 meters, but not. Yeah. And that's about it for these slides. One thing I do want to emphasize too. Oh, by the way, study propagation, long path, and gray line. We spoke about that before. And have fun. DXing is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be easy, by the way, but it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, I'm moving into your role. I'm less a contester now. I'm more of a DXer. I just, I've done all the contests. I've done as good as I'm going to go, and so. Well,
we need you to go to North Korea because I need North Korea on CW.
I'm on it. Yeah, Lori said she'd pay for it too.
Oh, you're fantastic. Hey, I'm going to put a plug in for the DX Foundations and the DX clubs. If you're not part of a DX Foundation or a DX club, please join one. I happen to be the chairman of the INDEXA, International DX Association, and we support all of these DXPeditions. Quite a few dollars will be funneled into these DXPeditions. So if you're not part of a DX club, join it. There's a lot of information that gets bandied about within the club, and very helpful.
Please. And thanks for reminding me. I'm probably long due to up and share a few dollars and one less trip to Starbucks.
Yep.
Which I don't do, by the way. But of course, I'm in Canada. I'm a Tim Hortons guy, but that's a whole other story. Lou, I wanted to thank you for your time.
You're quite welcome.
I hope for everybody else, let me just get rid of this. For everybody else, there are a ton of videos on using CW skimmers, RTTY skimmers. Learn how to use Fox and Hound. Talk about it with your friends or your clubs, because the more you get it right, the better your odds of completing a QSO. These guys are the professionals. They're expecting professionals on the other end, right? And they will take the first call sign they can copy. So you may have to be loud, or it's in timing. And in DXPeditions, I never call first. I might actually go to the third. Okay,
that's a good point.
And if you listen long enough, you'll hear this wah noise and then more noise. And all of a sudden, about the third cycle, one guy calls all by himself, and he gets worked right away.
Pick him out. Yep. Very good point. Very good point, Mike.
Anyway,
so it happens a lot.
Blue 73. Hopefully, maybe we'll be able to interview you when you're on Sable. If you guys have any internet out there, that would be cool. If that
that'd be cool. Yeah, definitely. If we've got our shift schedules all set up, and we have 8 hours between shifts. So, and by the way, guys, when you're on DXPedition, you are actually working. I mean, you have on shifts, off shifts, on shifts, and you are actually working. So take it easy on us.
Well, and you've got maintenance too. You've got food cooking. You've got latrine duty. You've got
Yeah.
You know, antenna maintenance, all these things. If you're lucky, you get 8 hours sleep a day, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's fun.
Lou, 73, thanks for the time.
73. Thanks, Mike. Take care. Good luck, everyone.